What if I told you that one country contains cities that look like science fiction? Mountains that inspired the movie Avatar. And Mount Everest, the world's highest mountain, rising above the Tibetan plateau. This isn't fantasy. This is China. Most people think they already know China. They picture the Great Wall, ancient temples, crowded cities, and pandas. But beyond those familiar images lies another China, one filled with landscapes so surreal they look computer-generated, cities that seem impossible to build, and ancient wonders that have survived for thousands of years. Over the next hour, we're taking you on a journey across one of the most fascinating countries on Earth. We'll visit cities built on mountains, walk through forests that inspired Hollywood, stand before an underground army that remained hidden for over 2,000 years, and climb toward the highest place on our planet. Each destination is more extraordinary than the last. And trust me, the final location may completely change how you see our world. Welcome to Unseen China. Let's begin. Someone handed you a map of Chongqing without telling you anything else, you'd probably assume it was designed by mistake. Roads cross over roads, buildings rise from cliffs. Entire neighborhoods are stacked on top of one another. And sometimes, the place you're trying to reach isn't across the street. It's 6 floors above your head. Welcome to Chongqing, one of the most extraordinary cities ever built. Home to more than 30 million people, Chongqing isn't simply large, it's built on mountains. Situated where the Yangtze and Jiuzhaigou rivers meet, almost every street climbs, descends, twists, or disappears around steep hillsides. Forget everything you know about cities laid out on flat land. Here, gravity dictates the architecture. Walking just a few blocks can feel like climbing a skyscraper. Many first-time visitors think their GPS is broken. Maps often show 2 places only a few hundred feet apart, but in reality, one might be 15 stories above the other. This unique geography has forced engineers to think differently. Instead of expanding outward, they expanded upward. Today, Chongqing contains one of the world's most complex transportation systems. Hundreds of bridges connect mountains, massive highways weave through the skyline. And perhaps its most famous landmark is unlike anything you'll find anywhere else. A subway train that travels directly through a residential apartment building. At first glance, it looks impossible. Surely the noise would make life unbearable. But engineers designed the station with advanced sound insulation. Inside nearby apartments, the passing train is surprisingly quiet. It's a perfect example of how Chongqing solves problems most cities never have to face. As night falls, the city transforms. Millions of lights reflect across the rivers. Towering skyscrapers glow with synchronized displays. Bridges become ribbons of gold stretching across the water. Viewed from above, Chongqing resembles something from a science fiction movie. Not surprisingly, filmmakers and video game designers have drawn inspiration from this remarkable skyline. But beneath all the futuristic architecture lies a city with a history stretching back more than 3,000 years. For centuries, Chongqing served as a strategic gateway deep into southwestern China. Today, it remains one of the country's most important economic and transportation hubs. Yet despite its enormous size, many international travelers have never heard of it. Perhaps that's changing, because once people discover Chongqing, they rarely forget it. For the people who live here, none of this feels unusual. Children grow up knowing which elevator leads to which street. Delivery drivers memorize routes that involve staircases, escalators, bridges, and tunnels. Taxi drivers instinctively understand levels that visitors can't even see. What appears chaotic from the outside is, in reality, a carefully organized system shaped by geography. The rivers tell the story of Chongqing's past. There's another tradition that reveals something even more personal, one that brings families together almost every single day. And surprisingly, it begins with a pot of boiling broth. You cannot understand Chongqing without understanding hot pot. And I'm not talking about the mild version many Americans know. Authentic Chongqing hot pot is a full sensory experience. A pot of boiling chili oil, Sichuan peppercorns that create a tingling numbness, thin slices of beef, mushrooms, tofu, vegetables, and a table that slowly disappears under steam. What surprised me is that hot pot is not treated as a special occasion meal. It is social infrastructure. Friends meet around it, families gather around it, co-workers bond around it. You don't order your own dish, you share. And in a city of 30+ million people, that shared experience matters. The food is bold, intense, and unapologetic, much like Chongqing itself. But as extraordinary as this city is, our next destination was built not to connect people, but to keep them out. Stretching across deserts, mountains, grasslands, and forests, stands one of humanity's greatest engineering achievements, the Great Wall of China. Contrary to popular belief, it isn't a single continuous wall. Instead, it's a vast network of fortifications built by multiple dynasties over many centuries. Combined, these sections extend for more than 21,000 kilometers. That's over 13,000 miles. Long enough to circle nearly half the Earth. Construction began more than 2,000 years ago. Different kingdoms built defensive walls to protect themselves from invading armies. Later, China's emperors connected and expanded many of these fortifications into the enormous structure we recognize today. Building the wall was an unimaginable challenge. Workers hauled massive stones up steep mountains without modern machinery. Bricks were carried by hand. Materials varied depending on the landscape. In some regions, builders used stone. Elsewhere, packed earth or bricks proved more practical. Every section reflects the environment in which it was built. The wall wasn't just a barrier. It functioned as an entire military communication system. Watchtowers stretched across the landscape. During the day, soldiers sent smoke signals. At night, they lit beacon fires. Messages could travel hundreds of miles within hours, an astonishing achievement long before telephones or satellites. Today, millions of visitors walk its restored sections each year. Standing atop the wall offers breathtaking views of mountains rolling endlessly toward the horizon. It's difficult not to imagine the soldiers who once stood watch here, scanning the distance for approaching enemies. The Great Wall has become one of the world's most recognizable symbols. But perhaps its greatest achievement isn't military. It's human determination. Generation after generation worked together to create something larger than themselves. A monument not only to defense, but to perseverance. Still, China's story isn't written only on mountaintops. Some of its greatest chapters unfolded inside ancient cities. And one city, in particular, has witnessed both unimaginable tragedy and remarkable rebirth. Welcome to Nanjing. Long before Beijing became China's political center, another city held that honor. Its name is Nanjing, which literally means southern capital. Few places have shaped Chinese history as profoundly as this remarkable city. For centuries, emperors ruled from here. Dynasties rose, empires expanded, ideas spread across Asia. Today, modern skyscrapers stand beside centuries-old temples and stone gates, creating a city where history and progress exist side by side. One of Nanjing's most iconic landmarks is its magnificent city wall. Built during the Ming Dynasty, it remains among the longest surviving ancient city walls anywhere in the world. Walking along its massive stone pathways offers a glimpse into an era when cities were designed to withstand siege rather than traffic. Inside the city, peaceful parks surround historic temples. Ancient architecture blends naturally with modern neighborhoods. Every corner seems to tell another chapter of China's past. But Nanjing is also remembered for one of the darkest moments of the 20th century. During the Second World War, the city experienced immense suffering in events that continue to be remembered and studied today. Memorials throughout Nanjing honor the victims and remind future generations of the importance of peace. Rather than hiding this difficult history, the city preserves it with dignity and reflection. That willingness to remember has become part of Nanjing's identity. Today, however, visitors also discover a vibrant, youthful city. Universities attract students from around the world. Technology companies continue to grow. Tree-lined boulevards, lakes, museums, and cultural districts make Nanjing one of China's most livable cities. It's a place where ancient traditions continue alongside rapid innovation, where every street connects the past with the future. And speaking of the future, our next destination has spent centuries connecting east and west. A city where towering mountains rise directly behind one of the world's most famous skylines. Welcome to Hong Kong. Some skylines are impressive because they're tall. Others are impressive because they're beautiful. But Hong Kong is extraordinary because nature and engineering exist together in perfect balance. Few cities anywhere on Earth are surrounded by such dramatic scenery. Jagged green mountains rise directly behind forests of skyscrapers. Deep natural harbors separate bustling districts. And ferries continue crossing the water much as they have for generations. Hong Kong grew into one of the world's great trading ports because of its remarkable location. Its deep harbor welcomed ships from across the globe. Over time, it became an international center for finance, commerce, and culture. Today, people from every corner of the world call Hong Kong home. One of the city's defining experiences is riding the historic Star Ferry. For more than a century, these green and white ferries have carried passengers across Victoria Harbour. The journey lasts only a few minutes, yet it offers one of the world's greatest urban views. Ahead stands the famous skyline of Hong Kong Island. Behind, the busy streets of Kowloon. Above, towering peaks remind visitors that nature remains close, even in one of the planet's most densely populated cities. To truly appreciate Hong Kong, many visitors travel to Victoria Peak. A historic funicular railway climbs steeply through lush forests before revealing a breathtaking panorama. Below, hundreds of skyscrapers surround the harbor like shimmering glass cliffs. As evening arrives, another spectacle begins. Every night, buildings across Victoria Harbor participate in the Symphony of Lights, one of the world's largest permanent light and sound shows. Lasers, colorful lighting, and music transform the skyline into a living performance. Yet Hong Kong offers more than towering buildings. Hidden between busy streets are peaceful temples filled with the scent of incense. Colorful street markets overflow with local flavors. Mountain hiking trails begin only minutes from downtown. Golden beaches line the outer islands. It's a city of remarkable contrasts. Modern but traditional. Fast-paced but deeply connected to its heritage. Urban, yet surrounded by nature. And while Hong Kong became one of Asia's great financial centers, our next destination may be the most futuristic skyline on Earth. A city where clouds drift between skyscrapers, where one tower rises higher than almost everything around it, and where East and West meet in spectacular fashion. Welcome to Shanghai. Imagine standing on a quiet riverbank in the early 1990s. Across the water, instead of towering skyscrapers, you see warehouses, farmland, and empty fields. Now, blink. In just a few decades, that same view transforms into one of the most recognizable skylines on Earth. Welcome to Shanghai, China's largest city and one of the world's greatest financial centers. Home to nearly 25 million people, Shanghai represents more than economic success. It represents speed, the speed of ambition, the speed of innovation, and the speed at which a city can reinvent itself. The heart of modern Shanghai is Pudong. Today, it looks like a vision of tomorrow. But until the early 1990s, this entire district was largely undeveloped. Then came one of the most ambitious urban development projects in modern history. Within a single generation, hundreds of skyscrapers rose from the ground. International businesses arrived. Global banks established headquarters. Architects competed to reshape the skyline. The result is breathtaking. Standing above everything else is the Shanghai Tower. At 632 meters, or 2,073 feet, it is China's tallest building and one of the tallest buildings ever constructed. Its elegant, twisting design isn't just beautiful. It also reduces wind pressure, helping the massive structure withstand powerful typhoons that occasionally sweep across eastern China. Inside, the tower features one of the world's fastest elevator systems, carrying visitors hundreds of meters into the sky in less than a minute. From the observation deck, Shanghai stretches toward the horizon in every direction. Glass towers shimmer in the sunlight. The winding Huangpu River divides old from new, and ships continue moving through one of the busiest ports on the planet. Yet despite its futuristic appearance, Shanghai never abandoned its past. Along the western bank of the Huangpu lies the Bund. Here, grand European-style buildings constructed during the late 19th and early 20th centuries face the ultra-modern skyline across the river. It's one of the world's most striking contrasts. Two different eras. One city. Walk through Shanghai's quieter neighborhoods, and another side emerges. Traditional gardens, historic temples, tree-lined streets, small cafes hidden inside restored stone alleyways known as shikumen. These places remind visitors that beneath the city's glass and steel lies centuries of culture. As darkness falls, Shanghai becomes even more spectacular. Thousands of buildings illuminate in synchronized colors. River cruises glide beneath glowing bridges. Observation decks fill with visitors hoping to capture the perfect photograph. Every evening feels like a celebration of architecture and possibility. But while Shanghai looks toward tomorrow, our next destination became something entirely different. A city that transformed itself faster than almost anywhere else in human history. Welcome to Shenzhen. In 1979, Shenzhen was home to fewer than 60,000 people. Today, more than 17 million people call this city home. Take a moment to think about that. In less than half a century, a small fishing town on China's southern coast became one of the most advanced and influential cities on Earth. There are ancient cities shaped by centuries of history. There are modern cities built around glass towers and technology. And then there's Shenzhen, a city that doesn't just look toward the future. It seems to be building it in real time. Walk through Shenzhen today, and you quickly notice how different it feels. Electric vehicles fill the streets. Autonomous technology is being tested in the real world. Robotics, artificial intelligence, and advanced manufacturing aren't distant ideas waiting for the future. They're already part of everyday life. And perhaps the most remarkable thing is how quickly all of this happened. While many of the world's great cities took centuries to develop, Shenzhen transformed within just a few decades. Its skyline is still changing. New towers rise, entire neighborhoods are rebuilt, and industries that barely existed here a generation ago now help drive the city's economy. Shenzhen has become a symbol of just how quickly a city can change when ambition, investment, and technology come together. But Shenzhen is only one side of China's story, because if you want to understand a country where ancient history and modern innovation exist side by side, we have to look somewhere else. So we're heading west, to one of China's oldest and most influential cities. For more than 2,000 years, merchants from distant lands arrived here carrying silk, spices, ceramics, and ideas. This city became one of China's earliest windows to the outside world. Welcome to Guangzhou. Situated along the Pearl River, Guangzhou has long been one of China's most important trading centers. Long before airplanes connected continents, ships sailed here from the Middle East, Southeast Asia, and Europe. Cultures mixed, businesses flourished, and Guangzhou became one of Asia's greatest commercial crossroads. Today, that spirit of international exchange remains stronger than ever. Modern skyscrapers line the riverbanks. High-speed trains connect Guangzhou with neighboring cities in minutes. Innovation drives the economy. Yet history remains visible around every corner. One of the city's most recognizable landmarks is the elegant Canton Tower. Rising 604 meters into the sky, its graceful, twisting design makes it one of the tallest towers in the world. At night, colorful LED lights transform the structure into a glowing centerpiece overlooking the Pearl River. Visitors can enjoy panoramic observation decks or, for the adventurous, experience one of the world's highest outdoor attractions near the top of the tower. Beyond its skyline, Guangzhou is known throughout China for another reason: its cuisine. The city's rich culinary traditions have influenced restaurants across the globe. Fresh ingredients, delicate flavors, and centuries-old cooking techniques helped shape what many people outside China know simply as Cantonese food. Walking through Guangzhou's historic neighborhoods reveals another side of the city. Ancient temples stand beside modern shopping districts. Traditional arcades line quiet streets. Local markets buzz with energy from sunrise until late evening. It's a place where thousands of years of history continue alongside remarkable economic growth. As the sun sets over the Pearl River, illuminated cruise boats glide beneath glowing bridges, while the skyline reflects across the calm water. It's a fitting reminder that Guangzhou has always connected people, past and present, China and the world. But our journey is about to leave the cities behind. Ahead lies the river that has shaped Chinese civilization for thousands of years. A river so vast that it influenced history, agriculture, transportation, engineering, and the lives of hundreds of millions of people. Next, we follow the mighty Yangtze River. China like you've never seen before. Every great civilization has a river. For Egypt, it was the Nile. For India, the Ganges. For the United States, the Mississippi helped shape a nation. And for China, there is the Yangtze River. Stretching more than 6,300 kilometers, or nearly 4,000 miles, it is the longest river in Asia and the third longest on Earth. But the Yangtze is much more than a river. It is a lifeline. For thousands of years, it has carried people, goods, and ideas across the heart of China. Ancient merchants traveled its waters long before highways and railroads existed. Farmers relied on its fertile floodplains. Entire cities grew along its banks. Even today, nearly 1/3 of China's population lives within the Yangtze River basin. That means hundreds of millions of people depend on this remarkable waterway. As the river begins high on the Tibetan plateau, it winds through snow-covered mountains before carving its way across deep valleys, dramatic cliffs, fertile plains, and some of the country's largest cities. Its scenery changes constantly. In one moment, you'll see mist-covered mountains disappearing into the clouds. In the next, modern bridges span wide channels lined with skyscrapers. Few rivers on Earth offer such extraordinary variety. One of the Yangtze's most breathtaking stretches is the Three Gorges. For nearly 200 kilometers, towering limestone cliffs rise dramatically above the river. For centuries, poets, painters, and travelers have described this landscape as one of China's greatest natural wonders. Even today, cruise ships slowly navigate these narrow passages, giving visitors a front-row seat to scenery that has inspired generations. The Yangtze has witnessed triumph and tragedy. It has nourished civilizations, supported trade, inspired artists, and connected distant regions for thousands of years. Even in today's high-speed world, it remains one of China's defining natural landmarks. But after following one of the world's mightiest rivers, our next destination feels almost impossibly peaceful. A place where legends drift across calm waters, where willow trees dance in the breeze, and where beauty has inspired poets for more than 1,000 years. Welcome to Hangzhou. Imagine a city so beautiful that it inspired poets, painters, and travelers for more than 1,000 years. A place where ancient traditions blend effortlessly with modern innovation. Welcome to Hangzhou, one of China's most elegant and culturally significant cities. Often described as one of the most beautiful cities in China, Hangzhou has long been celebrated for its breathtaking scenery, rich history, and timeless charm. At the heart of the city lies its greatest treasure, West Lake. For over 1,000 years, this peaceful lake has symbolized the perfect harmony between nature and human design. Covering roughly 6 square kilometers, West Lake isn't enormous. Its beauty comes from balance rather than size. Elegant stone bridges arch over calm waters. Ancient pagodas rise from tree-covered hills. Willow trees gently sway along the shoreline. In summer, lotus flowers bloom across the lake. During autumn, golden leaves shimmer on its mirror-like surface. And in winter, a light snowfall transforms the landscape into something almost dreamlike. Chinese legend tells the story of the White Snake, one of the country's most beloved folk tales, which unfolds along the shores of West Lake. Whether fact or legend, the story has become inseparable from the lake, adding mystery and romance to an already unforgettable destination. One of the best ways to experience West Lake is by traditional wooden boat. As the boat glides across the calm water, the sounds of the city slowly fade away. Temple bells echo through the surrounding hills. Gentle ripples reflect ancient pagodas and graceful bridges. For a moment, it feels as though time itself has slowed down. Scattered throughout the lake are small islands connected by elegant causeways first built centuries ago. Walking these scenic paths offers constantly changing views. One moment, you're standing beneath centuries-old willow trees. The next, you're gazing toward the iconic Lifeng Pagoda, glowing beautifully as the sun begins to set. Beyond West Lake, Hangzhou continues to impress. The city is home to centuries-old temples, peaceful tea plantations, and the famous Nanjing, or Dragon Well, tea, one of China's most celebrated green teas. At the same time, Hangzhou has embraced the future, becoming one of China's leading centers for technology and innovation. It's a city where history and modern life exist side by side in remarkable harmony. More than 700 years ago, the Venetian explorer Marco Polo is believed to have described Hangzhou as one of the finest and most magnificent cities in the world. Whether every detail of his account is accurate or not, one thing remains undeniable. The beauty of Hangzhou continues to captivate visitors from around the globe. It's a reminder that sometimes the world's most extraordinary destinations aren't defined by towering skyscrapers or record-breaking landmarks, but by the quiet moments that invite us to slow down, breathe deeply, and simply admire the beauty around us. But our next destination couldn't be more different. Instead of peaceful lakes and gentle hills, imagine thousands of towering stone pillars rising through the clouds. A landscape so surreal that Hollywood used it as inspiration for another world. Prepare yourself, because what you're about to see hardly looks real. At sunrise, the first rays of light pierce through the morning mist. Slowly, hundreds of towering stone pillars begin to emerge from the clouds. For a few unforgettable moments, they appear to float in midair. Welcome to Zhangjiajie National Forest Park. Located in China's Hunan province, this UNESCO World Heritage landscape is unlike anywhere else on Earth. More than 3,000 sandstone pillars rise dramatically from the forest floor. Some soar over 200 meters into the sky. Wind, rain, and time spent millions of years sculpting these extraordinary formations into the shapes we see today. From a distance, they seem impossible, as if gravity has somehow been suspended. The park gained worldwide recognition after inspiring the floating mountains seen in James Cameron's blockbuster film, Avatar. Although the movie was created with digital effects, many visitors are surprised to discover that the real landscape is just as breathtaking. One of the park's most famous viewpoints is the Avatar Hallelujah Mountain, where photographers gather early each morning, hoping to capture the magical moment when fog drifts between the towering peaks. Another unforgettable experience is crossing the Zhangjiajie Glass Bridge. Suspended high above a dramatic canyon, the transparent bridge stretches more than 400 meters across the valley. Looking straight down through the glass can be both thrilling and terrifying. For many visitors, every step requires a little courage. The park also features cable cars, scenic elevators built into cliffs, winding hiking trails, and panoramic viewpoints offering spectacular perspectives across this otherworldly landscape. Wild monkeys often appear along the pathways, adding another layer of excitement to the journey. As clouds move across the mountains, the scenery changes almost minute by minute. No two visits are exactly the same. Sometimes the peaks disappear completely beneath thick mist. Then, just moments later, sunlight reveals hundreds of towering columns stretching toward the horizon. Nature becomes the artist, and the landscape becomes a living masterpiece. But as colorful as these forests may seem, our next destination proves that nature still has another surprise waiting. Imagine mountains painted with brilliant reds, vibrant oranges, golden yellows, and deep shades of purple. No paintbrush, no filters. Just millions of years of geology creating one of Earth's greatest natural works of art. If someone showed you a photograph of the Zhangye Rainbow Mountains, you might assume the colors had been digitally enhanced. But they haven't. This incredible landscape is completely natural. Located in Gansu Province, the Zhangye Danxia Landform Geological Park contains some of the most colorful mountains on the planet. Layers of red sandstone and mineral deposits were laid down over millions of years. Powerful tectonic forces slowly folded and lifted these rock formations. Wind and rain then carved the landscape into the rolling ridges visitors see today. The result is astonishing. Bands of crimson, orange, yellow, white, and even subtle shades of blue and green ripple across the mountains like giant brushstrokes. The best time to experience the Rainbow Mountains is during sunrise or sunset. As the angle of the sun changes, the colors become even richer and more vibrant. Observation platforms throughout the park offer breathtaking panoramic views. Each viewpoint reveals a different pattern. No two ridges look exactly alike. It's a reminder that nature's creativity often surpasses anything humans could design. Scientists explain the colors through geology. Artists describe them as inspiration. Photographers simply wait for the perfect light. No matter how you see them, the Rainbow Mountains leave a lasting impression. Yet even this spectacular landscape isn't the end of our adventure. Because ahead lies a valley where crystal-clear lakes shimmer in impossible shades of turquoise, where waterfalls cascade through untouched forests, and where many travelers quietly admit they've found the most beautiful place in all of China. Next, we enter the breathtaking world of Jiuzhaigou Valley. Have you ever looked at a photograph and thought, that can't be real? No filters, no artificial colors, no digital effects, just nature creating something almost impossible to believe. Welcome to Jiuzhaigou Valley. Hidden deep within the mountains of Sichuan province, this UNESCO World Heritage Site is often described as one of the most beautiful places on Earth. And once you see it, it's easy to understand why. The valley stretches for more than 70 kilometers through snow-capped mountains, ancient forests, waterfalls, and crystal-clear lakes that seem to glow from within. What makes Jiuzhaigou truly extraordinary isn't simply its scenery, it's the color of the water. Some lakes shimmer in brilliant shades of turquoise. Others appear emerald green. A few reflect deep sapphire blue, and depending on the season, the colors can change dramatically throughout the day. Scientists explain this phenomenon through an unusual combination of mineral-rich water, limestone deposits, algae, and the way sunlight reflects through the exceptionally clear lakes. Nature, working with perfect precision. Walk deeper into Jiuzhaigou, and the scenery seems to change with every turn. First comes Swan Lake, where still water mirrors the mountains and forests surrounding it. Then there's Arrow Bamboo Lake, known for its emerald green water and the quiet beauty of the surrounding valley. A little farther on is Panda Lake, named after the giant pandas that once lived in these forests. But then comes the place that stops almost every visitor in their tracks: Five Flower Lake. At first, the water appears turquoise, then emerald, then deep sapphire blue. And somehow, all of those colors exist within the same lake. Beneath the crystal-clear surface, fallen tree trunks lie preserved underwater, creating a strange and beautiful landscape that feels almost unreal. Not far away, the sound of rushing water grows louder. This is Pearl Shoals Waterfall. Thousands of streams pour across broad limestone terraces, creating one of the most dramatic scenes in the entire valley. And then, almost suddenly, everything becomes quiet again. At Mirror Lake, the water can become so still that the surrounding mountains appear perfectly reflected on its surface. For a moment, it becomes difficult to tell where the mountains end, and their reflections begin. From here, the journey continues toward the upper valley. Waiting there is Long Lake, the largest and deepest lake in Jiuzhaigou. Nearby lies Five Color Pond. It may be smaller than the other lakes, but its colors are extraordinary. Clear blue blends into turquoise, green, and golden tones, creating a natural mosaic that changes as sunlight moves across the water. Returning toward Norilung, another powerful sound fills the valley. Norilung Falls. Stretching for nearly 300 meters, the waterfall spreads across the mountainside as water rushes over the rocky terraces. It's one of those places where you don't simply see the landscape, you hear it. From here, the trail leads through the peaceful lower valley. Rhinoceros Lake. Zhejiang Lake. Sparkling Lake. Reed Lake. Each one has its own character, its own colors, and its own rhythm. And finally, there's Bonsai Shoal, where miniature trees rise from crystal-clear streams, creating what looks almost like a naturally designed garden. Jiuzhaigou is remarkably easy to explore, with shuttle buses and wooden boardwalks connecting its most beautiful sights. And every season transforms the valley. Spring brings fresh greenery, summer brings powerful waterfalls, autumn covers the mountains in brilliant colors, and winter turns the lakes and waterfalls into a frozen wonderland. No matter when you visit, Jiuzhaigou never looks quite the same. It's more than a national park. It's a place that feels like stepping into another world. But China's natural beauty doesn't end here. Far to the south, another landscape tells a completely different story. Here, mountains don't rise as enormous walls. Instead, they emerge from the mist like ancient towers, scattered across rivers and surrounded by green countryside. Welcome to Guilin. If you've ever seen a traditional Chinese landscape painting, there's a good chance you've already seen the Li River, even if you didn't realize it. For centuries, this remarkable river has inspired poets, painters, photographers, and travelers from around the world. Flowing between the cities of Guilin and Yangzhou in Guangxi province, the Li River is famous for one extraordinary feature: its mountains. Unlike ordinary mountain ranges, these limestone peaks rise sharply from the earth like giant stone islands. Some resemble giant elephants. Others look like ancient castles. A few appear almost perfectly symmetrical. The imagination fills in the rest. Morning is perhaps the most magical time to experience the river. Mist slowly rises from the water, wrapping around the peaks like drifting clouds. Fishing boats glide silently across the calm surface. The reflections become so perfect that it's often difficult to tell where the mountains end and the water begins. Among the most iconic scenes is Nine Horses Fresco Hill, where patterns in the cliff face are said to resemble galloping horses. Local legends claim that those who can identify all nine are blessed with exceptional intelligence. Whether that's true or not, visitors still enjoy searching for them. Another timeless image is that of local fishermen working alongside trained cormorant birds, a traditional fishing method practiced for generations. Although modern techniques have largely replaced this practice, demonstrations continue as a way of preserving an important cultural tradition. The Li River's breathtaking scenery became so famous that it now appears on China's 20 yuan banknote. Millions of people carry this landscape in their wallets every day. Yet seeing it in person is something entirely different. Cruising the river allows each bend to reveal another unforgettable panorama. Every few minutes, the landscape changes. Every turn feels like opening another page of a living painting. As evening falls, nearby Yangzhou comes alive with cafes, music, and markets, creating a vibrant contrast to the quiet beauty of the river itself. The Li River reminds us that sometimes simplicity creates the greatest beauty. But our next destination takes us much higher, above the forests, above the clouds, to mountains that have inspired philosophers, painters, and spiritual seekers for more than 1,000 years. Some mountains impress because of their height, others because of their beauty. Huangshan, or Yellow Mountain, is celebrated for both. Located in Anhui Province, Huangshan has inspired Chinese art and literature for centuries. Its dramatic granite peaks, ancient pine trees, and ever-changing sea of clouds create one of East Asia's most iconic landscapes. More than 70 major peaks rise across the range, including Bright Summit, Lotus Peak, and Celestial Capital Peak. One of Huangshan's most famous sights is its ancient pine trees, growing from cracks in the granite cliff. The legendary greeting pine appears to stretch its branches toward visitors. But perhaps Huangshan's most magical feature is its sea of clouds. When clouds fill the valleys below, the peaks seem to float like islands above the sky. As the sun rises, golden light slowly reveals the mountains, creating a scene that has inspired generations of artists. Yet our journey now takes us somewhere completely different. A place of glowing lanterns, ancient canals, wooden houses, and quiet rivers. Welcome to Fenghuang. Imagine walking through a town where centuries-old wooden houses stand on stilts above a peaceful river. Stone bridges connect narrow alleyways. Red lanterns sway gently in the evening breeze. And every reflection in the water tells another story. Welcome to Fenghuang Ancient Town. Its name means Phoenix Town, a symbol of renewal and prosperity in Chinese culture. Located in Hunan Province, Fenghuang has preserved much of its historic charm for more than 300 years. Unlike many modern cities, the streets here invite visitors to slow down. There are no towering skyscrapers dominating the skyline. Instead, you'll find traditional wooden architecture, stone-paved lanes, quiet courtyards, and riverside homes that have become icons of Chinese heritage. The Zhejiang River flows gently through the heart of the town. Small wooden boats drift beneath graceful bridges, while reflections of lantern-lit buildings shimmer across the calm water. After sunset, Fenghuang becomes even more enchanting. Thousands of warm lights illuminate the riverside, creating an atmosphere that feels almost magical. Music drifts from local cafes. The aroma of traditional cuisine fills the air. Street performers entertain visitors, while artisans continue centuries-old crafts passed down through generations. Fenghuang is also home to the Miao and Tujia ethnic communities, whose colorful festivals, traditional clothing, music, and dance add another rich layer to the town's cultural identity. Here, history isn't locked away inside museums. It's part of everyday life. Perhaps that's why so many visitors describe Fenghuang not simply as a destination, but as a feeling. A reminder that progress doesn't always require leaving the past behind. Sometimes the greatest treasures are the ones carefully preserved. But our journey through China's remarkable history is far from over. Ahead lies a place once forbidden to ordinary citizens for nearly 5 centuries. A palace so vast that it contains almost 1,000 buildings. And beneath another ancient city, an emperor still waits, guarded by thousands of silent warriors. Next, we step inside the heart of Imperial China. For nearly 5 centuries, this was the most powerful address in Asia. Behind towering crimson walls, beyond a wide protective moat, stood a city that ordinary people could only dream of seeing. A place where emperors ruled one of the world's greatest civilizations. Where decisions made inside these walls shaped the lives of millions. Welcome to the Forbidden City. Located in the heart of Beijing, this extraordinary palace complex served as the imperial home of 24 emperors during the Ming and Qing dynasties. From 1420 to 1912, it was the political and ceremonial center of Imperial China. For almost 500 years, this was where an empire was governed. Construction began in the early 15th century under the Yongle Emperor of the Ming dynasty. According to historical records, hundreds of thousands of craftsmen, laborers, artisans, and skilled builders worked for more than a decade to complete the project. Their goal was ambitious: to build a palace unlike anything the world had ever seen. They succeeded. Covering approximately 720,000 square meters, the Forbidden City remains the world's largest imperial palace complex. Within its walls stand nearly 1,000 surviving buildings, connected by grand courtyards, ceremonial halls, elegant gardens, and stone pathways that have witnessed centuries of history. Every detail inside the Forbidden City had a purpose. The brilliant yellow roof tiles represented imperial authority, while the red walls symbolized prosperity and good fortune. Even the palace's numbers and layout reflected ancient beliefs about harmony, balance, and the emperor's connection to heaven. Crossing the Meridian Gate, visitors enter enormous courtyards leading toward the Hall of Supreme Harmony, the palace's largest ceremonial building. Six centuries ago, this courtyard would have been filled with thousands of officials, musicians, and elaborate ceremonies. And then, the emperor would appear. For most people, even seeing him was a rare privilege. His words carried the weight of an empire. But behind the grand ceremonies was a very different world. The inner court was where the emperor, empress, royal family, and palace attendants lived. Gardens, libraries, and private residences offered a quieter side of palace life. Yet these walls also witnessed rivalries, political intrigue, and struggles over succession. History was not only made on battlefields. Sometimes it changed behind palace doors. The Forbidden City was also an extraordinary feat of engineering. Built mainly from wood, its structures survived earthquakes, harsh winters, and more than 6 centuries of history. Builders used interlocking wooden brackets called dugong, allowing the buildings to flex during earthquakes. The palace also became home to an extraordinary collection of Chinese art, porcelain, jade, paintings, calligraphy, bronze artifacts, and imperial furniture. In 1925, the Forbidden City became the Palace Museum, opening its treasures to the public. Today, millions of visitors walk through courtyards once reserved for emperors and their courts. What was once forbidden is now one of China's most important symbols of history and culture. Every gate, every stone, and every carved dragon tells a story of power, tradition, and change. But our journey through China's imperial history doesn't end here. Because one of the greatest discoveries in Chinese history remained hidden beneath the earth for more than 2,000 years. Thousands of life-sized soldiers stood silently underground, waiting to be discovered. Our next destination reveals an army unlike anything the world had ever seen: the Terracotta Army. Imagine digging a well on your family farm, when suddenly your shovel hits something hard. Then another piece, and another. In 1974, farmers near Xi'an made one of the greatest archaeological discoveries in history: the Terracotta Army. Buried for more than 2,200 years, over 8,000 life-sized warriors were created to protect Qin Shi Huang, China's first emperor, in the afterlife. What makes them extraordinary is their individuality. Each warrior has different facial features, hairstyles, expressions, and armor. Originally, they were brightly painted, but much of that color disappeared after excavation. and beneath it all lies an even greater mystery. The emperor's central tomb has never been opened. Ancient records describe rivers of mercury and an entire empire hidden underground. For now, those secrets remain untouched. But China's story isn't found only beneath the ground. Sometimes, it's hidden within streets where history never truly disappeared. Several hundred kilometers away, in Shaanxi province, stands one of the best-preserved ancient cities in all of China. Welcome to Pingyao Ancient City. Surrounded by nearly 6 kilometers of imposing city walls, Pingyao feels like stepping directly into the Ming Dynasty. Stone-paved streets, traditional courtyard homes, watchtowers, and centuries-old shops remain remarkably intact, offering one of the most authentic glimpses of historic urban China. Yet Pingyao was more than a beautiful city. During the 19th century, it became China's financial center. The Rishengchang Exchange House, established in 1823, pioneered one of China's earliest nationwide banking systems, allowing merchants to transfer money across the country without transporting heavy silver. In many ways, it laid the foundation for modern financial services. As evening falls, glowing red lanterns illuminate the narrow streets, while traditional tea houses and local artisans preserve customs that have endured for generations. Pingyao reminds us that true progress isn't only about building the future. Sometimes, it's about protecting the past. And now, our journey reaches its final destination, a place beyond ancient cities, beyond imperial palaces, and beyond the clouds themselves. Ahead rises the highest mountain on Earth. There are mountains, and then there is Mount Everest. Standing at 8,848.86 meters, or 29,031.7 feet, Everest is the highest point on Earth. Its summit has become a symbol of human endurance, exploration, and determination. Most people are familiar with the southern climbing route through Nepal, but the northern approach reveals an entirely different perspective. Crossing the vast Tibetan plateau, the landscape begins to change. The sky appears impossibly wide. The air becomes noticeably thinner. Snow-covered peaks stretch toward every horizon. Hours pass without seeing a single city. Only endless open land leading toward the Himalayas. Then, almost without warning, Everest appears. Its immense pyramid rises above every surrounding mountain. Even from a great distance, it dominates the landscape with a quiet authority. Unlike photographs, which often struggle to capture its true scale, seeing Everest in person is a deeply humbling experience. Every year, travelers journey to the Everest base camp on the Tibetan side. Not only climbers, but photographers, filmmakers, pilgrims, and adventurers, drawn by the mountain's timeless presence. Here, colorful Tibetan prayer flags flutter in the wind. Monasteries stand beneath towering peaks, and the silence is unlike anywhere else on Earth. It is a place that inspires reflection as much as adventure. For thousands of years, these mountains have challenged explorers, inspired spiritual traditions, and reminded humanity of nature's extraordinary power. Standing before Everest, it's impossible not to feel small, yet connected to something much greater. Over the past hour, we've traveled thousands of miles across one of the world's oldest and most fascinating civilizations. We began in Chongqing, where mountains, skyscrapers, and trains come together in one extraordinary city. We walked along the Great Wall, a timeless symbol of China's history, resilience, and human ambition. From the historic streets of Nanjing to the futuristic skyline of Shanghai, the vibrant harbor of Hong Kong, and the technological powerhouse of Shenzhen, we witnessed how dramatically China can change from one place to another. In Guangzhou, ancient trade routes meet the modern world. Along the mighty Yangtze River, we followed one of the waterways that helped shape Chinese civilization. At West Lake, we discovered a quieter side of China, where nature, legends, and centuries of poetry come together. Then came the dramatic landscapes of Zhangjiajie, the colorful mountains of Zhangye, and the breathtaking beauty of Jiuzhaigou Valley. Along the Li River, mountains rose from the water like scenes from a painting, while Huangshan disappeared into a spectacular sea of clouds. We wandered through the ancient streets of Fenghuang ancient town, where bridges, rivers, and traditional buildings preserve another chapter of China's past. Inside the Forbidden City, we stepped into the world of emperors and imperial China. And beneath the earth in Xi'an, the Terracotta Army reminded us that some of history's greatest discoveries can remain hidden for thousands of years. In Pingyao ancient city, centuries-old streets showed us how the past can survive alongside the modern world. And finally, we reached the Tibetan plateau and looked toward Mount Everest, the highest point on Earth. A place where the mountains, the wind, and the endless sky make us realize just how small we are and how extraordinary our world truly is. From ancient cities to futuristic skylines, from peaceful rivers to towering mountains, China is a country where the past and future exist side by side. Every destination tells another story, and every journey reveals something new. This is what Unseen China is all about. Discovering the hidden landscapes, ancient history, remarkable cities, and extraordinary places that make this country so fascinating. If you enjoyed this journey, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications for our next adventure. And tell us in the comments, which destination amazed you the most? Was it Chongqing, the Great Wall, Jiuzhaigou Valley, Zhangjiajie, or Mount Everest? We'd love to hear your answer. Thank you for traveling with us. Until next time, keep exploring, keep wondering, and never stop discovering the extraordinary places that make our world so incredible. This has been Unseen China. Thank you for watching.